He's early. Just a couple minutes. Yes, we're going to talk about that, I'm sure. Oh, you just started it? Book of Shimley? Ooh, it's good. It's real good. Well, hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
Good. Hold on, I forgot. 1 second.
You're fine. You're early, so we're good. My favorite audiobook? There's so many. Probably, Haunting Adeline. Yeah. We're going to have to talk about it.
Sound when I talk to you using these things.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, but can you hear me? Is the sound weird?
No, sounds fine. Is there a delay?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless there is, I don't know. Ready? Let's count to 3. 1, 2, 3.
3.
Is that the delay?
There might be a little bit of a delay. That's okay. We'll figure it out.
Okay. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Is the sound better if you have those in your ears?
Yeah, you know what? It's just that I wanted to be sitting in this chair, but then I need to have my phone up here, and I didn't want to be like, "Hey, you over there."
Yeah, I get it.
So here you're right in my ear.
You need to get you a little tripod situation. A little halo.
I know. Well, yeah, give some sort of an influencer set.
That's right. It's like the best $20 I ever spent on Amazon.
That's funny. Yeah, I did before I signed up here. I said I should set up my situation, and I was like looking inside my booth. This is my booth right here. I was looking inside. I was like, the lighting's terrible, but here we have a beautiful window coming in. So I thought, okay, this works.
Until the sun starts to set.
Until the sun starts, and then we'll deal with that when that happens.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
This is called tech treatment with Andrew.
So what were you working on today, or are you allowed to say what you were working on today?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I was working on a title for Jean St. James. That's what I'll say. I don't think it's a problem that I say who I'm working for, but I don't know I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's such a funny thing because they don't send you anything that says, please don't talk about it or, post it everywhere. But I also don't know what the plan is.
Right.
On the author's side. Like I had one time with poor Lauren Blakely. I think it worked out all right, but I'd like absolutely outed a thing like months in advance, and she was like,
no.
"Okay, well, turns out I'm doing this." And so it's like I like to let the control of that happen to the author because they're the ones in charge of the thing.
Right. Well, some authors like to do a big narrator reveal, or if they're using like a PR company, that's become a thing. So you don't want to accidentally say something you're not supposed to.
Yeah, I have a problem. I don't know if our quick 5-minute test that turned into an hour-long live broadcast on Tuesday. I don't know if that gives you an indication, but I'm not good at censoring myself. I just go. I like to say, "Oh, I'm just a really open guy. I'm just a really open guy, and I don't like to keep secrets and blah blah blah." But actually, the truth is, I just don't have a filter on my mouth, so I have to embrace that identity as an open fellow because otherwise, I'll just be opening my mouth.
Yes, I have heard that. I have heard a rumor that you're not very good about keeping secrets.
No, I'm not. Even just at the start of this thing, I outed myself. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it happens. And I feel like there's so many secrets in the audiobook world. that we keep,
Yeah. Yeah.
like with so many pseudonyms and not talking about
We,
certain projects.
there was somebody recently, it didn't bother me, but there was somebody recently on Instagram who posted something where they said, uh, narrated by, they named me, and then they said, AKA Teddy Hamilton. And it was like in the description of the video. And there was a part of
Oh.
me that was like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what? Like, okay, whatever. I don't care. It's fine. But there was an element of like, there's a certain, it's the secret that everybody knows.
Yeah.
It's okay that everybody knows it as long as there's sort of a level of taste applied to when how you use it, how you use that information. And I think even when I'm like, I just today was emailing with an author that for a book that I'm probably gonna produce for said author, and
Oh,
we
okay.
were talking about a fellow narrator uh, as a possible co-narrator, and while I was talking to the author, I was like, well, I can reach out to them, and like I don't know if they know who
Right.
it is or what
Right.
it is. And also in the end, it's like it's for work. I get sometimes publishers who will reach out to me and say, "Hey, who's this person? Like, who's this? You've worked with them a bunch of times, but clearly that's a pseudonym.
Mm-hmm.
Who's this person?" And it's considered just polite that even though it's a publisher asking, narrators, you want all the publishers to know who you are, but even if it's a publisher asking, that first you reach out to that person separately and you say, hey, is it okay if I give your information to this, to so and so?
Right.
It's just polite, even if it doesn't matter, even if it's fine. Like the way I've always looked at my pseudonym is really just more of a brand thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like under my other name I've done, like Christian books, and I've done a lot of little kids books and
A lot of
things like
Disney.
that. And as far as the world of romance and erotica and the Teddy Hamilton world, I have no problem with the Teddy Hamilton world knowing my other side, because I don't think that there's to me it seems like it's a very open community. But once you get out into the wild world of like everything else, you have no idea how they're going to react and how they're going to treat things,
Right.
because it gets a lot of, it gets dumped on a lot by a lot of different people. And so if that's something that can hurt me, then it's best to just keep the things separated in a just in that, like, I don't know, clearly I don't care that much, but it's still one of those things where I see the benefits of having one thing here and one thing here, and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of mm, collecting it that way.
Yeah.
And the
At this point,
stigma, yeah, totally.
yeah. I mean, at this point, I assume that every narrator, they have at least one, if not multiple,
Yeah,
pseudonyms.
yeah, yeah. There's people who have pseudonyms for every genre.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like, if for my sci-fi I'm this, and for my like super military stuff I do this, and then for my, it's like I couldn't keep track. I wouldn't be able
That,
to keep track. There was
that's
a
a lot
time
to
when I
keep.
first when I first came up with Teddy that I was like, I started to feel really bad because I would talk to people and they would assume that Teddy meant that it was like really, really dirty.
Mm.
And that if it wasn't really, really dirty, then I would do it under my other name. But even then, it was like hard. That's just, it was hard for me to keep track of what's what,
And what's
and
that
like what's that line exactly, totally.
exactly?
That I thought, well, I guess I think I'll just let Teddy take all erotica, like every level of steam that there is, every level of heat, will just be Teddy, and then everything else can just go in the other one. And there was a little bit of
books. Yeah, that's right.
well, there's a lot of them that also then were surprising to me, or also in the early days, some go under my other name, just because I hadn't quite made my decision yet. And
Right.
also some of the publishers ask for my other name for not Teddy.
So they
And
are
I
the ones
go,
that ask you. You don't make that decision.
well, they'll ask me. I can always put my foot down and say no. In fact, I did. There was a book that I did a while ago that they they told me specifically. They said, "Don't use your Teddy voice," and I was like, "What? Like, what does it even mean? It's just my voice, no
Yeah.
matter who's, no matter what name I'm doing under."
Uh-oh. I can't hear you. I lost you.
Am I back?
You're
Now
back.
there's a delay. It's because I got a call just now.
Oh, phone calls mess these lives up so bad.
I can hear us talking.
If it's bad,
Oh
you'll
God.
have to
Hold
go
on.
out and come back in because
Let
phone
me leave.
calls really can
I'll
mess
be
up.
right back.
Okay. I'll invite you back in. Okay. Yes, that will definitely mess everything up, the phone call. All right, here we go. Lauren. Yeah,
Sometimes you just have to pull out.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was perfect timing. So, how did you come up with Teddy Hamilton? Some people were asking that.
You know what? It's the typical. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What is the name of your first animal?
Dodger.
What is the name of the street you grew up on?
Celeste.
Celeste. So I would say, so your
That
name
doesn't work.
technically would be Dodger Celeste. I think you could then class it up. Celeste is a great first name.
Celeste would be a great first name.
Yes, so you could be like Celeste Dodger. What's another pet name that you
That
had?
doesn't work. I haven't had very many pets.
Uh-uh.
Frankie. I had a bird named Frankie.
Frankie Celeste is not a bad name. That's not a bad name. That's your pseudonym. That's your romance name is
Mm-hmm.
Frankie Celeste.
All right. Sounds
I
dirty.
was going my first animal was Sandy,
Sandy?
terrier, Sandy, and I grew up on Starbuck Street. So I would have been Sandy Starbuck, which was like way too. I mean, first of all, it's a girl name. So I said, okay, well, my first male dog that I had was Teddy, so
Okay.
I'll be Teddy Starbuck. But then again, Starbuck just feels too porny, so I decided to class him up a bit, and that's why I came up with Hamilton.
I have some friends, and that is their last name, Starbuck.
Starbuck. I mean, it's great,
I
but
know.
then if it's a pseudonym, then it's like I know people who really have kind of joke names almost. Um, I was going to one of my friends. His name is Turner Munch, and when they asked me what's a pseudonym you want to do this first book under, I said Turner Munch, and they said no, you can't do joke names. So I told my
No.
friend that, and he thinks it's funny because it's his actual name. Um,
I think you made the right choice to stick with Teddy Hamilton.
yeah, Teddy Hamilton works. Hold on just
Yeah,
1 second.
it absolutely works. So, you mentioned that the other night that you had a bunny.
Mm-hmm,
The
mm-hmm,
next
mm-hmm.
day, my 10-year-old asked me, she said, Mommy, can we get a bunny? I said, Were you
Yeah,
listening at the door?
that's so funny.
What
Go
kind of
on. You don't
what
want to
kind
be
of
up
bunny
here.
is it?
I don't know. It's just a pickup. We had a it was crazy. We've never seen any rabbits in this whole area. See, now she's interested in being in my lab. We had we've never seen any rabbits, but then our cat passed away a couple months ago.
Oh.
And
Oh, it's back.
and she's just sitting here now. But she passed away, and I know that she's being weird now. Go on, get it. Go on, scram. And like it was devastating. It was a cat that my wife had had for like years and years and years. It was like 13 years old, and from a kitten. And so then we were really sad for a while. And then like one day, me and my wife were like having like, I don't know, a tiff of some kind. She was like she went to her office and I was in the living room, and I look outside and there's this rabbit in our front yard
Oh.
randomly. And it was like, we're like, fine, screw you. We were mad at each other. And I'm like, rabbit in her yard. And she was like, what? We came out and she just like chose us, this rabbit, because
Wow.
she came out of nowhere. We don't know where she came from. We put up signs like, hey, is anybody missing a rabbit? We went around.
Yeah, that
Talking to
doesn't look
people.
like the wild rabbits we have around my house.
No, it's not like yeah, exactly. It's clearly a fluffy little
It escaped from somewhere.
Yeah. What I heard is that down maybe in the next block over, that there's somebody in that general area who keeps rabbits, like, but they roam freely. Like they put food out for them,
Oh.
and they take care of them, and they give them shelter if they want it, but they also don't like keep them inside or something. I don't know. But so then she was just like, fuck this place, and she went over and she chose us, and
Aw.
like, yeah, and she's super happy. She's a ginkgo. Ginkgo is her name.
Ginkgo. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, how did you actually get started in narration? Because you said the other night you've been doing it for 10 years. So how did all of that come about?
It was my sister started. My sister started doing it first, and she's a voiceover actress. And while she got married, oh, back in 2008 or something like that, and she invited these producers, Dion Audio, to her wedding, and I was the MC for her wedding reception. So I'd get up and like entertain the crowd on a microphone for 4 hours, and there's these like two audiobook producers who were out there, and they came up to me and they said, "Hey, by the way, we think you sound great. We're like, you have a voice, you have a sound that we want. Like, can we work with you? Yeah, free range rabbits. That's what they're saying." And then I said, "Sure." And then I didn't talk to them for like 2 years because I just.
Oh, really? It took that long?
Well, I was just like doing other stuff, and I wasn't really. I wasn't pursuing anything, or I was pursuing something else. So then at some point, they then just reached out to me and they said, "We got this book. We think you'd be great.
Wow.
Will you come and audition for it?" And so then I went to their studio and I auditioned, and they said, "You're great." And then I got hired, and it was a Harper book, and it went well. And then like Harper liked me, and then they said, "Hey, like, let's get to know each other. What do you do?" And at the time, I was working as a theater tech for the Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles. They had this big, huge planetarium show that happens, and I used to run that show, like on the tech side of it. And the studio lady Deborah Dion, she says, "Wait, you know computery stuff?" And I said, "Yeah, I know computery stuff." And she said,
"That's helpful.
How much do they pay you? We'll pay you the same amount. Come work here, get more like audiobook experience, directing and engineering, And
Uh,
then also, you'll be here and jobs come up, we can maybe send them your way. And I said, okay. And so then I got a
I would
bunch of, I got a,
do that.
so then I did, well, the thing that's great is that I got to do a bunch of, as I was building my early days, like resume of audiobooks, I was already in with Harper pretty good, and then Scholastic liked me a lot. And at the same time, I was engineering and directing some of the best audiobook narrators in the business.
Hmm.
And so like, and that's me sitting down and like, it was like a master class in audiobook narration, because I just got to sit down and listen to this guy, sit down and listen to this guy. And I would see what really, really worked, what didn't work. I would work with new narrators and I could tell them, hey, don't go into your falsetto for women. You don't want to do that, guy. Trust me, it sounds terrible and people will hate
Yep.
it. It's stuff like that. But I mean, like I had a time in the early days, and it was some guy who was on a TV show. I forget. I don't remember what his name is. He was on a TV show, so they were like trying to get him into audiobooks. And I remember he came in and he starts this thing. He's got this great voice. He's reading all this like really cool. It was like uh it was a romance, but also like real low heat, but also like fantasy. There was like fairies and elves and things like that in it.
Yeah.
And at some point, he's got this great cool guy who's the main character, and then the girl shows up, and the girl and he goes, "Well, I don't know why you want to be like that." And I was like, "Stop, stop, stop, stop! Just don't do the falsetto. Like, keep the energy. I like what you're bringing to the character. She's got
Mm-hmm.
some spunk. That's nice. Just don't use your falsetto." And the guy stops and he thinks for a little bit and he goes, "I've already like put a lot of thought into what this character is supposed to be." And I was like, "I know, and it's great. I feel it. I feel it. Just don't do your falsetto." And he was like, but it's like now I have to rethink everything." And I was like, "If you need to, then rethink it, but trust me, don't use your falsetto." And he was like, like he was like so upset at me, but I was just like, trust me, it sounds terrible. Like you sound like an idiot when you're doing it.
Are you reading some of this as you're talking?
No, no, no. Yes,
Those
Shane.
of us,
Yeah, totally.
those of us who have listened to These Walls Can Talk, art
That's
imitating
the
life,
exact moment.
right?
Yeah, that's the exact moment. That's yeah. I forgot that that's in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, I wonder if I no, because
And Joe doing
it's a
that
pretty
really high
standard.
voice as
Yeah, it's a
Atticus.
pretty standard thing, and it's also a pretty
Uh,
If you've never done it, you've never done audiobooks, it makes sense that you would think to go there
yeah,
if
but
you're just a guy who's wanting to. No, but it's like, nah, this is 6 hours of that.
no.
This isn't just like one off thing. This is 6 hours and a character that like people want to care about, and
Mhm.
like they're not gonna if they sound like this. Like,
I mean, that's one of the biggest complaints I hear from people who have maybe tried just one or two audiobooks. If it's dual style, they have a hard time when the male narrator is voicing the female character.
yeah,
But I don't know who they're
I
listening
don't
to.
know. No, but it's true, and it's a hard thing because it's hard to put into words the right way to do it. Like, there's there's something there's something along the lines of, you aren't actually her, you're the idea of her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there's also just like, I uh, I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it other than part of it is the listener's experience,
Mm-hmm.
like taking care of the listener so they're not, you know, they don't care about accuracy so much as like comfortability, that it's like that it's enjoyable to listen to. And then as long as that whatever you choose to do is consistent, then they know that
Right.
you're indicating her voice. um but it is hard to it is hard to describe.
Well, some of it's just talent, you know.
You know what I think it is? Is it's taste,
Mm.
talent. Because you could maybe you're the most amazing talented voice actor and you can come up with all these other voices, but you also have to have a certain amount of taste towards like what will be enjoyable to listen to. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's a there's a trick there somewhere.
Well, some people have been asking questions, a lot of questions
Yes, I'm sorry.
about the cat and mouse duet, Haunting Adeline, Hunting Adeline,
Yeah.
because those
Oh yeah.
audiobooks were crazy popular.
Those I know.
So, what do you think there's been a rise in popularity for dark romance.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what do you think about it? What was your experience like in narrating those books? How did you prep for them? Because you were
So
incredible, by the way.
thank you.
You
Thank you.
and Michelle, I mean, you guys were the reason I bought the books because I'm not really into dark romance or didn't think I was. But
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I heard the casting announcement and that it was you and Michelle Sparks, I thought, well, and it was duet style narration, I have to buy them, and they were incredible.
Yeah. When I first went in to which one's the first one? Haunting or hunting? Haunting, I think is
Haunting,
no, hunting's the first one.
haunting is the first
Um when I first went into it, I was it was presented to me as like this has a lot of triggering stuff in it.
one. Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with that? Like, I don't think I've been told like there's some triggering content in this book. Like, you know, are you okay? And like I've done dubcon books before, and I've done some books that didn't even presumably have any triggers that like triggered me. Um, there's a yeah, but when these ones first popped up, it was like very clear that this was going to go to even darker places.
Uh-huh.
And there was another female narrator attached to it
Mm-hmm.
who, during her prep, said, "I don't think I can," and bowed out of it. So
Yeah.
like that doesn't happen very often. Um, what? So I went into it, you know, with with my head on very tightly set, you know, ready for whatever. Um, but when I was reading through it, I think when I prep, I won't read it as in depth as I read when I'm narrating.
Yeah.
I'll kind of just skim through it to like make sure that I know, okay, so this sort of happens and then this sort of happens and then this sort of happens. And then I dive in when I'm actually recording, and it was a those ones were harder because I had to kind of access parts of me that I don't tend to access very often.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's what the thing called for. But then it itself, those book itself answered a lot of the questions that I had and that sometimes I have about particularly triggering things. I've always thrown my hands up in the air and said, well, I don't know why people like it. I don't know why people want to listen to these really dark romances or read these or write these. But for me, I've always said, I don't know why. I don't know why. But the fact of the matter is that somebody wrote it and they wrote it for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's going to listen to it or read it and they're going to listen to it and read it for a reason. And that's not my place to like judge anything. But those ones actually answered a big question for me when I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that the one where they like put on a horror film and then like do it to a horror like while there's a horror like a grotesque horror film happening in one of the theaters? Is this not Haunting Adeline? Don't they at some point?
I'm trying to remember a horror movie. Oh, people are saying yes.
It's
Lauren Beale says
right.
yes. Yeah, I'm trying
Yeah.
to
So
remember.
so but it was this
Oh,
idea of,
yes. They were like in a private space. Yes. Okay. I do remember that part now.
and she has this, I don't want to call it a kink, but like a fascination with fear. And like, these are really fundamental inner experiences of the human body that you know, like your fear lives somewhere when you're feeling it. And there's chemicals that go coursing through your brain and your body during something like that. And yeah, yeah. Um, sorry, I'm reading also,
It's okay.
but it was like, but so it was like, it suddenly, it clicked a lot of stuff into place for me, those books actually, because I think she put it so well
Mm-hmm.
in the way that she lined out the stories that made me, I don't know, I like to analyze and think theoretically about everything all the
Oh,
time.
I do too.
Um,
I'm always looking for the metaphor and the
yeah, yeah,
the
totally. But so
underlying
that
part
was something
of the
that was a
story.
big, yeah. But so that was a big thing for me, was that those uh those books answered like actually kind of a big question for me, because I noticed also uh the rise in the dark romance as a genre. And it's, you know, if you were to look at something like the big rush that came post 50 Shades of Grey,
Mm,
which is more it's not fear, it's like dominance and
yeah.
submission and like BDSM type of stuff, that that this, you know, you see that happen, and that has a very specific taste to it. And this jump into dark romance has a different kind of taste. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's instead of it being controlled but protected, it's now like totally unprotected, and like vulnerability and fear and all of that kind of stuff
Pushes boundaries. Yes, you are correct.
pushes boundaries,
Lots of
but
boundaries.
also does something to you. You know, it this is, there's a feeling, and that's what are we going to do anything for other than, you know, the way that these various things make us feel.
Yeah. I mean, but
Mm-hmm.
bravo, your performance was just, I cannot imagine anybody else doing that. I mean,
I'm listening. I'm listening.
it's getting
I can
dark.
hear you.
It's getting
It's
very
just
dark
getting
in your,
dark.
speaking of dark romance, it just keeps getting darker on your face. You're just lurking in the dark.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's like so bright.
Oh,
It was
well, but
getting more and more dark as we were talking about dark romance.
it's good timing.
Just
I, I,
white light
actually,
everywhere.
I planned that. Well, what is your favorite trope to narrate? Do you have one?
You know what? I'm a sucker. Somebody was mentioning Kaylee Loring. Kaylee Loring's a good example, but I like rom com, just because I think I am a goon most of the time. Like, when I, you know, in everything that I've ever done, I thought some people who know me, they know that I used to do construction, and like,
Corgi. Look, did you see it?
even when I, yeah, I did. It waved its butt at me.
Yeah.
Um, but even when I did uh, construction, they even hired me. Like, I have experience. I'm a bit of a carpenter, and I can always like put stuff together, and I'm good with my hands. But when they hired me, it was somebody who said, they said just hire him because people will like him. Like, he'll make the cruise more fun or something like that. And that's what the boss told me, when of why they hired me, is that I get
Oh,
along with everybody, and that I'm like kind of a goon, and I'm a good jokester on any kind of crew.
that's a great
And like,
compliment, though.
yeah, when they started putting me in charge of, I became a lead really quickly on crews for anything that was dealing with the union steel workers, so that, because I could run these groups of, like, you know, 40 just salty like iron workers,
Mm-hmm.
but they'd be like, I like this guy, and so then they do whatever I wanted them to do because they do it for me because they liked me.
Yeah.
But so I think that kind of just lighthearted fun, that's me ultimately. Somebody keeps saying golden retriever.
Yes.
Is that what a golden retriever is? I don't know what a golden retriever is. I mean, I know the dog, but
So golden, it's a dog.
yeah.
No, golden retriever character. Does somebody want to explain what they mean? Because somebody else said cinnamon roll. Get back to cinnamon roll. So like they're really
Corgi.
sweet,
Quiet Screamer
warm
says nope, corgi.
corgi. But like this, oh, super excitable. That's the gold. Oh, they're talking about golden retriever energy. I thought they were talking about a character.
Uh, uh, uh.
That's not what I write. No, Lauren, that's not what you write. So, is there an author that you would love to narrate for that you haven't?
Mm, I don't think so. I mean, like, I want to work. I don't really target authors. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have authors who I work for who I love very much. Like, I'm a big fan of Lauren Blakely. Me and her get along really, really well,
Mm-hmm.
and we work really well together. I'm a big fan of Serena Bowen. Me and her work really, really well together. Um, like, I'm a big fan of Kim Lorraine. Like, me and her work really well together.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for me, my desire to work with an author usually comes after I've worked with them, and then I go like, "Ooh, I really liked working
Mm-hmm.
with this person." Kaylee Loring. I've had interactions with Kaylee Loring outside of even books at all. Just because me and her became friends, and so I like her a lot. But I think I'm just more. Uh, I'll work with anybody
Oh,
in hopes of then getting to know people, and then once I get to know people, then I'll want to work with them again. Um, but I don't really like target other people. Like, I haven't worked with this person. Um, I don't even do that with narrators either. I make friends with narrators at various functions, but but it's usually after I've met them and hung
right.
out with them and had a beer with them that then I go like, oh, I want to do a book with you.
How much interaction do you do with your co-narrators?
A
Like
lot. There's
before a project?
on a project, there's
Yeah, or
not too
before
much
you do.
interaction. It's usually just because our schedules are always so different. It'll be like, I'm working on this book, in a week, but you're not working on this book for another month.
Mm.
So like, what I always tend to do is, I don't want to be annoying to anybody. I just say, look, like, whatever you decide to do, tell me, and then I'll follow your lead on it. And
Oh,
so if they warn me, oh, I did this, or I kind of went this direction with this character, or I leaned into this aspect of it, um, then I'll go, okay, and then I'll make sure that I do that. And then I do that for anybody who's maybe recording after me, where I'll say, hey, I know that it just said American dialect, but there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of sayings like, oh, stronger than a cowpoke in a hurricane. So like, I kind of leaned into the drawl a little bit more on this one, just so like, so that we can collaborate in that way. And then I'll give like maybe archetypal descriptions of what I did, where I'll
yeah.
say, oh, is for Blake, I just did him real direct, like real like official sounding, kind of like a lawyer or something. But then Candy was like this little spunky sprite girl. I put her really, really high. I made her like super, super high, and then but like with like kind of a dark twist, like fuck you, um, sort of thing. Just to
Love it.
give the idea. In the end, whatever they do is going to be what they're going to do. But as long as we can kind of be in harmony with our choices, then that's as good as, that's as much as it'll get. So that's like collaboration. But then other than that, sometimes it'll be like, anyway, how you doing? Are you going to APAC this year? We'll do a little side talk. But most of the time we're all just locked in these booths. And so then it's when we go to these events that then we're like, hey, let's go do something. Like, let's go get drunk or something. Yeah.
Are you going to APAC this year?
I am going to New York this year. I'm not going to attend APAC. But I will be there for the satellite events and rub elbows,
So fun.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Are you going?
Maybe. I mean, I don't get to go to any of the you call it like the seminars and the voting and all of that, but the Audies, possibly.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, these things,
Angelina.
they're good. They're good. It's an industry event that is a there's business that's happening there. You know what I mean? So you gotta sort of think, like, if you go to APAC, the actual conference, the purpose of APAC is for the industry to share information about, this is what's happening with positron, now, which is a big proofing software that people use, or it's a place for new narrators to like learn some of the ropes about what's happening. It's a place for publishers to discuss different marketing and just stuff that's happening that's maybe new this year. And you would need to join the Audio Publishers Association to be a part of that thing,
which I am not. And I would just go for the boards and the party. That sounds like fun.
I mean, yeah, it is fun. Everybody gets all dressed up and like, that's it for me. Whenever I go, I always have two eyes open. One is go and have a good time. Go and like meet the people who I've only ever talked to over email.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe see if I can meet somebody who I've never met before, who then might be a job, might equal jobs. There's some publishers that I don't work for that I've never worked for. So I wouldn't mind, getting my business card in their hands, kind of thing.
That's right. Because, nobody knows your name and you really need help finding work.
Well, no, but I mean, it's just, yeah, I guess so. But still, I don't know. It's always it's good
for you. It's good for you to meet, but I mean, they know who you are. And that's a question that I have. So nobody gets into audiobook narrating thinking they're going to become famous or be a celebrity. But you're in a group of narrators that in this pocket of the world, I mean, you guys are celebrities. Is that bizarre?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like, I touched celebrity once a long time ago. I was on a television show back in the turn of the century. That's what it is, technically.
That makes
back in. I know, but I like it. It's back in the 20-aughts.
What was it? Can you say what it was?
Well, I wouldn't be able to without giving away my real name.
Well, yeah, just kidding.
But it wasn't anything. It came and it went. It wasn't a big thing. But talk amongst yourselves. You can. All you got to do is look me up on IMDb and you'll see it. But it was something that was big, and I went to like big Hollywood events, like, and like I would like do things where I'm walking down the, you know, the 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica, and suddenly somebody would say, "Hey, like your show," and I'd be like, "Ah, cool, thanks." Like random stranger who I don't know, or like I remember going to Vegas one time, and this little French family, the little girl came up to me and she said, "Are you so and so?" And she named my character on the show, and I was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "Oh, can I have a picture with you?" And I was like, "Ooh, sure, yeah, sure." And like it was cool, but I also have something in me. I don't know what it is. It's like I don't want to get like I want to believe it. I want to bask in it. And because I want to, it makes me scared that I'm going to be like blind to something. I'm going to end up being uh you know, so this was something that happened was the show that I did was a sitcom, and I remember after one of the shows, you know, you tape it before a live studio audience, and one of the guys on my show like went up after the show. We were done filming and all the audience was clapping for us, and you know we'd done our like, you know, we were done. He like went up and he like stood up and he like put his arms out and like was like touching, and all these people came down and were like touching him and all this stuff.
Mm.
And I remember being like disgusted by that.
Mm.
I was like, ugh, like the
Yeah.
he's just like, come and love me, like blah 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 blah. And I remember being so like bleh. And so then I would do the opposite, which is I would like go, you know, just go back to my dressing room and, you know, just stay by myself and not go seek that. But then over the years, as I've looked back on it, I think I bet you that was kind of shitty for the people who came. Like the people who came to see this show, who
Mm.
maybe were looking at us as something that they watched on TV, that now they were in the same room with them. And that guy would go up and he'd go and he'd put his arms up and they could come and they could shake his hand and say whatever they wanted to say to him, and like just tell him, hey, you know, thanks for this, and he could say no problem, what's your name, you know, and they could have an interaction, and it would be, you know, it's like I I met I met Robin Williams once a long time ago, and I couldn't not go and say hi to him because it was Robin fucking Williams, and
Yeah,
like I grew up on all of the Robin Williams movies,
of course.
like and like he was so awkward, and I was like, okay, bye, you know, but I had to, and it meant a lot to me to have had that experience with him, that I realized that I was a dick back then.
Unintentional.
Like, well, unintentionally, I didn't want to be, but I think so the concept of celebrity, the concept of if you are in like almost a public position with people, that I think I was telling you this, maybe I was saying this to you on Tuesday, but I what I've come away with is more of a sense that like, why has Teddy become a celebrity? Why does Teddy not need work? Do you know what I mean? Because he's got plenty of work. Why do I not need to go in hopes of getting my business card so that then somebody will hire me? The reason why is because people who listen
Mhm.
like Teddy, and they want to listen to Teddy, so that then authors ask publishers, "Hey, can you find Teddy Hamilton? Get Teddy Hamilton to do this." And so
True.
then now I can pay for my mortgage and I can, you
Mhm.
know, live the life that I live, and it's you know, it's always dangerous to get into a position of like, you know, nobody owns me, but I certainly owe a lot to everybody for being fans of Teddy, for liking what I do, and for supporting me in that way. That that whenever I go to events, I want to say hi, you know, and like
Mhm.
and give myself freely to people who are, even if they are conscious like supporter, like not like they're not sending me money in the mail, but they are the reason why I am at all. So
Mm-hmm.
like there's a lot that I owe to that, and I'm very appreciative of that. And because of that, I feel a certain responsibility to make sure that I show that gratitude and
Mm-hmm.
that I am present with everybody whenever I do meet them.
Are you reading some of the comments? No, but that's why
Yeah,
some of us like to go to these signing events. You know, we want to meet the narrators that have brought these stories that we love to life. And so I know I can speak on behalf of everybody in here that we're glad that you guys want to go to these events, because it's not like you can sell books there.
yeah, yeah.
You know, so it's not really,
Well,
you know, for authors have more of a financial gain in that sense going to these book events. But for narrators, you're meeting with fans, and like you said, we then talk to authors and we say, "Hey,
yeah,
you need to talk to this voice actor. He might be great for your book, or she might be great for your book."
yeah. Quiet Screamer. I got a Teddy message while you were in Vegas, and it's amazing. Made me love you more. I remember that. You were the only one I did that to. Um,
Oh,
I believe it was for her birthday, if I'm correct.
like a voice
Um,
message or a text message?
oh, wait, no, you know what? Or is this Vegas from many years ago? Because there was also whoever Quiet Screamer was. I did one, because also years ago there was one where it was last year. Is this what you're saying?
Let's see if it
I don't
pops up.
know.
It usually takes.
We'll see what Quiet Screamer
Oh, is
says.
this that one said no? This Vegas took you 3 takes.
This Las Vegas meet. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was fun.
And for people in the comments, it does take sometimes almost a full minute after you type it. So for us to see it, it's kind of slow sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I have a question that someone submitted that I thought was interesting. Is there
Yes.
a is there a character that you have voiced that you really resonated with and you felt like you identified with the most?
Uh,
I dream of that.
that's a hard question.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think.
Like, I know that there have
Lauren
been,
said any
but there's
right.
also been many. I mean, oh yeah, you know what? That's a great example. TJ is a great example actually because that one. Um,
Wait, which one?
it better remind Teddy. Um, but also, it is true though. That one was a very good.
Wait, I missed it. What was the
Hello.
book?
Sorry, my wife came and opened the door,
Oh,
and then
Hopelessly Romantic. I have not listened to that one, but I have it in my TBL.
it's me and Shane East. Um, that one was really good. Um, and that one me and Lauren talked about it too, where she sort of said like, I feel like you were very plugged in for this one, and I was like, there's something about TJ that just like I don't know, it was just me, to a certain extent. Uh, but that's also probably why me and Lauren get along because I think also TJ was a little bit of Lauren too. So somehow we both we both aligned very nicely on that character. Um, but I also think there have been uh ones I think I think I don't know that I can name them though. It's like it's TJ's a good one, so that's a good example of it. But it's she says true. That's too. There's a little bit of Lauren in that character as well. Um, but there have, I just don't know that I could name them all. You know what I mean? It's that there's some that come and I sit in it for a while, but then the next day I'm reading, Hunting Adeline, and I'm accessing some other part of my life that I'm not normally, connected to. So I think that's also the reason why it's a hard question. Is there's like what my everyday me life is, but as an actor, and I've been an actor since I was 4 years old, so it's sort of shaped
Oh,
a lot
wow.
of who I am, is that I'm not any one thing. I think nobody is any one thing, but I mean, especially now when we're talking so much about like identity and like who are you and what is this thing that is me? Like
Mm,
as an actor, if I identify as an actor, then that means that I identify as totally malleable. And I clock and give credence to all the different sides of me, so that because I might call upon them at some point to use when the character calls for it in their book.
Nikki Gray, who is also an audiobook narrator, she asked if you had any advice for newer narrators.
Yes, I do. From a performance standpoint, we talked about this also, Tiffany. We talked about this on Tuesday as well, but I really do believe it is that that first and foremost, the most important thing you want to be performing for, like that you want to know, is the you do it for the listener. If you're a stage actor, you're doing it for the audience. If you're a film actor, you're doing it for the viewers. If you're an audiobook narrator, you're doing it for the listener. And if you do that well and you tell the story well for them, which if you're an actor at all, if you're a narrator at all, you should know how to tell a story. You should know how to create characters. You should know how to emote. But you do all of those things for the listener. And then if you do it for the listener, then the author will be very, very happy because you will have taken all of their fans into account, because that's hopefully why they're writing, is for the reader.
Right.
And so you take care of the listener, you take care of the author in order to take care of the listener, and make sure that the author's words, make sure that their intentions are clear to the listener, make sure that all of the moments, the tone is clear to the listener by the tone and the moments that the author has crafted, and then start thinking about, you know, yourself or the publisher or your career,
Mm-hmm.
or if you're showing yourself off well enough or whatever. You know, it's so easy because we do this alone most of the time. Most of the time we're alone in this booth, and it's a lonely journey, that it's so easy in your mind to get stuck in judging yourself, criticizing yourself. Oh, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. That wasn't a good thing. Um, or like hearing all the different sounds. Is that a weird sound coming out of my voice? Out of my mouth? Like, did I just make a weird clicking sound? And all this stuff. And that all, you become like focused on yourself while you're narrating. And your focus should be on the person who's listening. And what they're listening to is what the author has created. So if you use what the author created to dazzle the listener with whatever, however that works out, whatever the book is that you're reading, and you lose yourself as much as you can, like, then, and those are your concentrations, then you'll be better. If you're worried about yourself, if you're overthinking yourself, if you're criticizing yourself, then you'll never get anywhere. And
Mm,
also then you're not, like, who knows if anybody's going to like it, because you're not thinking about them at all. You're only thinking about yourself.
right. I think that's great advice.
It's I think it's easy to do that with anything, really. You know what I mean? It's
True.
like like if you're thinking about whether or not you're a good friend to your friend, then you're thinking about yourself instead of thinking about the friend who you want to be a good friend to.
Mm.
It's like, It's where we focus our energies.
Mm. So you were saying normally when you are narrating, you're by yourself in your booth, which is behind you. There have been times that you've been able to do like multicast or I guess duet style with like in the same room or on Zoom with someone else.
Yeah, that happens on occasion.
Does that, do you like that or do you prefer to just be on your own? Do you feel like it's just a completely different acting experience when you're with somebody else?
Oh, it's definitely different, but it's adjustable. Like if I just have chapter 1 and it's all just me, then I get to decide everybody's reactions and intentions. I get to decide the tone. I get to decide the flow of back and forth between, in the dialogue. But once you bring in another person, then I thought Queen of the Frat House. I thought it said Queen of the Fart House, and I was like, who is this person? Teddy, you are my favorite male narrator. You did a phenomenal job bringing Zaid Meadows to life. Thank you, Queen of the Frat House. I appreciate it. Sorry for the second. The second I was like, wait, what? I'm watching it from far away. Forgive me. That was maybe an off-color joke. If I have a co-narrator, then it becomes scene work. Now we're doing theater. Now we're doing something that is we're playing ball with each other. I'm sending energy their way, they're sending it back. I catch it the way that they sent it, and then I send it the way I want to send it, and like it's very different. So usually there's a little bit of that has to happen, but it's usually it clears pretty easily. Like like the first time I ever did it, I did it for from Lukoff with Love. I think that one was the first one.
Mariana
Say what? Zapata, yeah. I did that one. That was the first time I ever did like a duet with somebody. And we did it in the same booth, but we also did it at a booth that was not a big studio. It was like a single booth. It was the largest booth that they had at the studio, but it was still just like a booth. So we were like this close to each other. And there's, for the most part, that book doesn't have a ton of heat, but there's some heat in that book. And, so there's always like, and I think I'd only been in the same room with my co-narrator, maybe once. So we didn't like know each other all that well, and we got real intimate with each other.
Yeah,
that's where like
experience for sure.
Yeah. But again, we're actors. I've simulated sex with people on stage. You know what I mean? Like that's our job as actors is to access intimacy very easily and comfortably with each other, so that we can, perform it for people to then feel something.
Do you get to stage act at all anymore, or do another like real life acting or physical acting, not just voice acting?
Yeah, I have to every once in a while just to get it out of my system. I just have to. You know what I mean? Like I can't just stay in the booth. But there's a big difference between doing a book and imagining what the listener is experiencing and doing a stage live in front of people. I mean, for everybody who went and saw in Vegas this year, who went and saw the
These Walls Can Talk.
These Walls Can Talk show. Yeah, like
and I watched from home.
I can't help and who watched from home, but like I can't help but like know that there's 200 people sitting there in the same room with me watching.
Yeah.
And laughing and reacting and calling out, and and I want them to, and I want to engage with them, and I want to, if I hear that they're laughing, then they're in a sillier mood. So then I want to play up these things to give them a couple more, chuckles, and it's a fun relationship to have, because you can play with people, and they're right there. They're right there watching.
That was so much fun
play with each other. You came here to watch this. Yeah, it was really fun to do, and the audience was amazing. I couldn't believe that people came and watched it for it was like a 6-hour day or something crazy like that.
Longer, because you had the breaks in between. I think total ended up being about 8 hours. It was on the Sunday. Somebody asked when it was. So it was the Sunday of Love in Vegas back in October.
After Love in Vegas, yeah.
After it was over. So you had to buy additional tickets for it. And then if you were at home, you could buy a ticket and just watch it through a live stream. So yeah, I told my husband, I said, hey, on this Sunday, I'm out of commission. You've got the kids. I'm going to be in the basement the entire day. You can bring me food. And that's what he did. He would bring me food downstairs.
Good.
And
good.
I sat down there and laughed my ass off. It was great. It was so fun. Well, it had to be fun for you too, because I mean, I assume that those are all your friends in real life, and you guys probably don't get to see each other in person very much. And so the fact that you were at this event together and then you actually got to perform the book together. Can you hear me?
I can. This one just died, so I'm recharging it, but this one's still alive.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. When we first did These Walls Can Talk 1 originally, it was as an oral fixation live cast thing, and it was I think that was right in the middle of COVID, and so it was fun. But we also do rehearsals. We also do rehearsals for those, because we're all doing it live together. We'll also have some night, a couple nights before, where we'll just drink and read through the scenes together, so we can kind of get a vibe of what each other is going to do.
Hilarious.
That was the first time I'd sort of satellite had interactions with Joe Arden, in that I knew who he was, and I'd been at the same events as him, but working on These Walls Can Talk was sort of the first time where I really kind of got to know him a little bit as a person, and we could interact on a personal level more, and so that was fun too, because he's a cool dude.
Yes, he is.
And then some I know, some of I text with daily, so.
That's awesome. Do you have any upcoming projects you can tell us about? I mean, we kind of talked about that early on, but I don't know if there was anything that maybe has already been announced that you can share that might be releasing soon.
I feel like there is, but I would have to know what it is. What? No, I do feel like I actually just had something
Powerless.
About this.
Some people are saying Powerless by Elsie Silver.
Yeah, Powerless.
On that one?
Yeah. Okay. I just did Powerless a couple weeks ago.
The Choice.
That one was super good. Say what? You got another one?
By Ashley Jade.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've done. Wait, have I done? I haven't done that one yet.
No, that book just came out, so I don't know.
I don't think I've.
Yes, we should. Hey, Molly. Yeah, Joe should have you on his NARP. Do you know what NARP is? So it's not a real podcast. It's part of his Discord, Patreon, and I don't know, maybe once a month I don't think he's done very many, but he'll have a narrator or an author come on and chat.
Oh, that's fun.
It's really fun. Well, I mean, we've been talking for over an hour. We can keep going, but if you want to go, that's totally
I
fine.
mean, I'm here.
I had so much fun talking to you on Tuesday.
Yeah, I know. We cut this out we did a 2 hour live that we split up into um two days.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, I
Um
do this. This is so fun for me. And it's been fun for everybody else too. There have been so many questions that have popped up.
here's
Here's
one.
one.
Here's one. Are you an
Go for it.
introvert or an extrovert?
Ah,
That's the one we talked about. I'm an extrovert, no question.
bye, Troy. Oh, you're a what? Introverted, extrovert? Extroverted, introvert?
No. I'm just an extrovert.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm a standard extrovert. Oh shit! What is this? Who is this
Shit.
guy?
Oh,
Special guest.
what the fuck is this?
What are you doing?
I heard you were coming out to play and I didn't want to miss it. Hi, you beautiful fuck.
Excuse me, Joe. This is my live.
Let me be very, very clear about why I am here. It is to celebrate and honor you. I am here to roll out the red carpet to welcome you to TikTok and to fanboy and celebrate the sexy, magical wondrousness that is Teddy Hamilton 14.
Well, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
What's
this NARP? What's this NARP?
Joe, I was just telling him that he should be a guest on your NARP.
I have a very special month that I would like to invite Teddy to NARP with me. I've been inviting our friends into the Audio Attic to chat with me, and it has become a really special, magical thing. Jason Clark and I spent, I think, something in the neighborhood of 20 minutes discussing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Sounds right. Yeah.
So yeah, you and I have, I don't think we can announce them yet, but we have some pretty exciting plans later this year. And so I would like to talk to you about syncing that up then. So Tiffany,
that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yes, Jim.
Yeah, so you gotta. It's the fine art of edging happening here, I think. So
edging. What are we talking about? What's happened?
Yeah, definitely.
I've been listening to your Haunting Adeline sample, and it's a hell of a thing. It's funny. I just maybe you already talked about this because I just popped in, but like, I love your darkness, and it's so it's so
good.
Well, and it's so like at the other end of the spectrum of so much of sort of where you live vocally and like personality wise. But you love it, huh? Tell me about it.
You know what it is? It's the dirty boy next door who also might kill you. That's the best way I could describe it.
But you seem to come by it honestly. I don't mean like that you're I don't mean that you're sociopathic. I just mean like I hear some like real carnal desire in the read, and it's fun.
We all have an abyss somewhere deep within, and it's just if you're too scared to look at it, then how do you even know what power it has?
Your voice sounds so different in it too. Does it fatigue when you're recording a book that long? Joe, for you too, because your voice gets a lot lower when you're. I just heard that sample of you doing the Little Bird duet dark, but I have not heard that before.
I think I have a plateau. I have like a lower plateau where my voice gets tired, and then it just sounds like that.
Okay.
And so I can just, as long as I'm okay with it, as long as it's not, as long as I sort of start it there, if that makes sense, then I can keep it consistent throughout the book.
Mm.
If I'm narrating super dark stuff, I actually will very frequently narrate it at night or in the middle of the night,
Mm.
where my voice is already kind of naturally lent into the kind of the weariness of a day, and yeah, so it doesn't. But I think it's very important. I learned pretty early on in my career, like, don't make any vocal choices that it's going to damage your fucking voice. So
yes, not nothing that you're gonna go crazy. That's why they
yeah,
say with VO actors, they just they'll do whatever the like hardest part, the screams and stuff like that. They'll always do that either separately or only as at like the end of the day because it'll just wreck their voice and they'll need to put it to sleep after that.
it's also why I think every male narrator, even the female narrators, because they do the male parts as well, should have like a set number of MC romances that they can do a year, because
Totally.
every MC guy's voice is described as like he sounded like a barrel of charcoal raked over a
Gravel.
bleeding river of bits, and you're like, okay, that sounds like it hurt. It actually sounds physically painful, so that's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
So yeah, and scheduling those, you got to make sure to schedule them far enough apart so your voice has time to recover.
Yeah, well, and VO actors that specialize in video games, they have the union contract actually stipulates that their work days are only 4 hours long, and if there is an excessive amount of screaming or yelling on one given day, they are given the following day off.
Wow.
They cannot back-to-back record days, because you got to think about it, like, those video games are taking place at the height of human emotion, like literally guns are drawn, life or death situations. So in order for the actors to commit and really go there, they're leaving it all out there. Leave it to an audio engineer to mix it into the soundscape of the whole thing, but it's all there. And if you go there, you really do need to rest after that kind of stuff. So
wow. Yeah, or I guess somebody's gonna be paying workman's comp. If they hurt themselves.
So are we decided that we're toe hardened?
So I saw somebody post toe harden. I thought when we were having dinner in Vegas, we came up with a different.
Oh, Arden. No.
I thought it was
Ardleton.
Just Harden. What's wrong with just Harden? Why do we need two names?
No, it's true. Hashtag Harden.
No, Harden.
Toe Ardleton is what I say.
Marla just wrote it out, and I did.
Harden.
And I thought it is kind of
Harden
funny.
works. Harden works.
Listen, you're either team toe or you're team Harden. All right, I'm drawing the line now.
What about Toady, Jody? What about Team Jody?
Team Jody. Joey
Joeddy.
Jotun.
DDY.
Mm.
Yeah. It's a different kind of book we'd be reading. It's an FF book read by Joe Arden and Teddy Hamilton.
Welcome to the Secret Forest, where your magical guides are Joe and Teddy.
with only falsetto female voices by two men.
That would be terrible. It would be comical.
In the most miscast book of 2023,
we were talking
Toady.
Wait.
Oh, it would be funny for fans, though.
We were talking. You came up earlier because we were talking about
Aaron Mallon write it. That's right.
Yeah,
I did.
Needs to write it.
It's funny.
But we were talking about
Teddy. I had a small tingle in my balls just about 20 minutes ago, and that must have been when you mentioned me.
Yeah, we were talking about it. Yeah,
that was probably about the right time.
That's it.
But we were saying, I was talking about in my early days as an engineer over at Dion Audio, I had like a whole standoff with a dude who came in and started to narrate his female voice as like a totally high, like falsetto voiced person. And I was like, nah, don't do that. And then they were like, that's in
It's
that's
Atticus.
in the narwhal. That's the
Neil.
narwhal. That's Atticus. That's
That
Atticus.
is
Yeah.
that is Atticus. Yeah. I was
And
like,
I remember laughing so hard.
When you did that, actually, I was like, oh, he sounds just like Atticus. What's the problem?
Well, what are you talking about? It's perfect. Good job, I was about to say.
Well, listen, you beautiful creatures. I just wanted to say hi, and it's nice to have a friend on TikTok. This can be a pretty.
I'm joined.
This.
I don't know what to do with it. I'm terrible at this kind of stuff, but
Swallow the Johnson.
You'll have to give me a. Oh, look at our little corgi.
Oh, thanks for my corgi butt. You have to thank everyone for the corgi butts.
Yes.
Thank you for the highest. It is the highest honor in
Hockey puck.
And a hockey puck, and somebody's sending roses too.
Yes.
Pizza. We got pizza.
Thank you, Ash.
What is that?
Happy New Year, friend. Keep doing your beautiful things. Tiffany, thanks for
thank you, sir. Thanks for coming by.
Of course.
Joe.
Exciting.
Mwah.
Our numbers, our viewers just quadrupled.
Wow. Yeah, they jumped. Well, it's also a little later too, so I think that helps sometimes.
I will say, I think it probably is about that. God damn, I got so many notifications starting to come in. I actually do have to get back to work, to be honest. So
you should give a tour of your booth sometime. That would be a good video to post.
Say what?
A tour of your booth.
Do a video in. Oh yeah. Well, there's not that much. Hold on here. Come with me. Look out for this guy.
I love your bunny. I love it. It's just sitting right there next to you.
Yeah. This is the dark cave that is my booth.
Do you sit or do you sit?
I'm a sitter, but I also have, let me see, I got some kind of, this would be my booth here, is this setup.
Nice.
It's hard to see everything, but.
Lots of foam padding.
Lots of foam padding. A nice, super, this is a terrible side of it because you can just see how much I spit all over my
fingerprints
because I'm talking at it all day long, and then a little monitor mounted up at the top.
Do you have
you see the lighting's terrible here
at all, or does it just get really hot in there? I hear that a lot. Oh, hi, Stella. Stella Hunter.
Oh, how's she doing? It's a little bit. Look at her. She just
follows you.
She just follows me around.
That is so sweet. I didn't know rabbits did that.
Well, she's very loving. She wants attention. What were we talking about?
If it gets really hot in there, or if you had some kind of air circulation, because I heard that booths can get very hot.
I have a little
princess.
I have a little thing that, like a fan, but I never use it because I just open up the door. It's just air circulation, but I can just open the door, and that actually will do it a lot quicker.
Fan might be too loud.
But yeah, well, and I have a fan that if you see my fan right there, literally pointing right at the door, because in the summertime, that you'll also see. Don't look too much at my floor because it's a mess. But that's also that guy right there is a air conditioner that's not in use right now because it's winter time. But I set that up to turn this whole room into an ice box, so that when I open the door and I'm sweating profusely, I can let all the cold air in.
So is that fireworks?
I know. Nice. Look at that. Thank you.
So are you in, is it like an office or is it like a converted garage space, that whole
This
room that
is
you're in?
no. This is just a room in my house. It's
Okay.
like an office, I
Oh,
think, because I don't have a. It doesn't have a. It doesn't have a closet. It's just four walls, so it's like an
oh,
office space. And I put this thing in here, so this guy uh, takes up most of the space. So it's just this little corridor, and then that little corridor, and then this booth here.
that's all you need. So, oh, a taco.
That's all I need. I spend most of my time in there.
Okay. Well, if you need to go, that's fine.
This
Thank
was
you.
super fun.
So
I had a
fun.
very good time. I like that Joe showed up.
I know. Well, he told me that he was going to try to, but he wasn't sure if he was going to or not.
That's fun.
So just pop
That's
in and
super
say
fun.
hi and surprise him, since this is his first official live on TikTok.
Well, and that's what I was like. That's what's fun is so with These Walls Can Talk during COVID. That was when me and him first started to like actually talk, outside of just kind of being in generally around each other. But then he doesn't live in the same state as I do. So like it's still just like whenever we're working together, or when we go to these kinds of events like an APAC, you're in the room, but there's like a million other people there too. So it's
Right.
But Vegas this year was really fun because he was there and I was there, so we got to actually like hang out, and we had dinner one night, and it was just really cool. It was nice to like hang out with the person and
Yeah.
like actually, there's it's good when you can talk to somebody, but also it's even better when you can like be in the same room and share a meal and like hang out. It was a cool time.
That's really fun. I'm glad you guys got to do that.
Yeah. Hey, you're great.
You're great.
This is fun. I watch all of your videos. I'm always stuck on Instagram because I haven't quite. I'm starting to learn how to enjoy TikTok
Uh-huh. It
because
can
like
be
Instagram, I've been doing it for years and I understand it, and so I can just scroll and see cool pictures. But then Instagram has gotten me into Reels to where now I scroll through Reels all the time. You see, because I always share Reels on my story.
and they're hilarious.
Yeah, it's because I see there's some crazy Reels. But so then like it's kind of like when you start a new, like over time on Instagram, I have collected all sorts of, like I've informed the algorithm what I want to see, what I want it to show me. And so I like know that, so it knows me,
Right.
because
TikTok has to learn
because
you.
it's spied on everything I've done.
Yeah.
But TikTok doesn't know me. So I have to like I have to start a new relationship with TikTok to get TikTok to know who I am, to then show me the stuff that I want to see. And
But that should
then I
be the
guess I
most
need to know
exciting
what I want to
relationship with TikTok, right? That early
Yeah.
stage, that getting
Yeah.
to know you, get the butterflies.
Now I want to
Scrolling
get
you
straight to
that
I want
For
to get
You page.
straight to the day after.
Yeah.
I want to go straight to the walk of shame level.
And then when you are posting a video, well, here's what I love about TikTok. And I just started in August. I haven't been on here very long. I always refuse to do it. But when I first, started figuring out, I loved how engaging the platform is. It feels very different than Instagram in that way. I feel like the engagement happens so much more here. The conversations you can have with people interacting with your videos.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like it a lot. I've met some really great people on here. And then there's a lot of people who are on this platform who don't get on Instagram, which is why so many people were so excited about you, because they don't interact with you in any other way. And this is the way they felt like they can.
Well, also my Teddy page, I started the Teddy page on Instagram so that I could update it every once in a while with my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And also so that, like, it's always kind of sucks when an author wants to post about their thing and then they're like at hashtag Teddy Hamilton because there's not like a person for them to tag in it. And so I wanted to have something that people could actually like point at this person, and as long as that had a good showing of my body of work, then it would have a place. But then, like, I don't do stuff with it, you know what I mean? So then it's not like a fun place for people to go. It's just a thing for people to tag, and that's maybe a disservice. But so
That's interesting,
I
Kristen.
don't know. What did she say?
She said she uses TikTok for books and Insta for her hair business because it's two different types of people.
Totally. I understand
That's true.
that. Yeah.
See, I am full book talk on TikTok. So
Yeah.
I don't venture out. I don't just go look up funny videos or dance trends or anything like that. So
See, that's what I would want to do.
It's
If I
pretty
did,
focused.
that's what I would want to do. And my version of book talk would be just like watch Teddy Hamilton do a stupid dance move that he can't really do. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'd probably end up
But see, you
posting.
just hashtag it like book talk, audiobook talk, and we will find you.
Yeah.
Find you doing whatever stupid thing you're doing. I mean, Troy in here earlier, Troy makes these cooking videos that he does voiceovers for, and just does some ridiculous things. But it's fun for fans to see you being you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be all pretty and put together. It can just be,
You should just live narrate your next book for me on TikTok.
So
okay, look,
a lot of
there's okay. Everybody witness that. Everybody can witness that right there. Lauren Blakely has given me carte blanche to TikTok the reading of her book. All right, good.
Yes.
There you go.
So a lot of narrators on here, and it is so much fun to watch.
Well, there you go. All right. That gives me at least something to start with.
Yes.
And you just do it live, or you do? See, you know what? I was the first person. I just want to point out. I just want to point out. I was the first person back during the early days of oral fixation. Not the early days of oral fixation, but my early days of oral fixation.
Oh.
I was like, I asked Lydia, who was who's the admin on that. Hey, can I just do a live reading on oral fixation? And she said, sure. I said, I'm just going to go live. Like, don't announce. We're not going to do anything. I'm just going to, like, just pop on and then just start reading. And I started doing it. And Kira Rodriguez, formerly McMullen, was the person who came in and watched me. And then a bunch of people started coming on. But then, like, I couldn't, because, like what I talk about, I'm very aware of my audience. I'm very aware that there's somebody there, and so I want to think about them when I'm performing. I want to know that. But so then when I was like reading, I was just like, there's just like somebody here. Like, I'm trying to read this book here, but there's like 120 people here watching me do that. That I'd just be like, hold on. And so then I couldn't concentrate on this because I was thinking about the people. But I posted a thing to all of the narrators, all of the romance narrators, and I was like, hey, it was cool. I got really distracted and it was hard for me to do it, but I think it was kind of cool. I think it worked. And then I started seeing other people doing it. So I feel like
you were a trendsetter.
I was a trendsetter who couldn't do the thing I wanted to do. But at least I just threw myself at it to see how it would go. Yeah.
Well, you could always not do it live. You could always just do a couple of just brief recordings of yourself doing it.
What I'll do is I'll start it, and if I can't forget about
you just quit
the live people, then I'll just stop recording and I'll talk to the people on TikTok, and then I'll send an email to Lauren saying, I'm sorry, this is going to be a little late because I started doing a live, and then instead I just started talking to the people on TikTok instead.
That happens a lot. Troy Duran was doing that last week. He was reading from a book and doing a live narration, and then started chatting. And then before you know it, several of us are up here where he can see us, and we're just talking. And he completely gave up on the book.
That's so funny. Yeah, yeah.
He's like, people want to talk? Okay. He's great. No, he didn't get very far, but that's okay. It was a lot of fun. As long as you're not on a deadline.
Well, I'm always on a deadline. There's always a deadline. Victoria just said, she said, get back to work. I got credits to spend. And it's true. I think sometimes I overcommit myself.
Well, Teddy has Miss Lizzie 114. He does have a page called Totally Teddy over on Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Which, while we're talking about Facebook, and everybody's still in here, so myself and 2 other women, we started an audiobook club on Facebook, and we choose 2 to 3 audiobooks every month for people to listen to on their own time. And then there's a chat thread where you can listen to it and then jump in there and talk about it with other people. And so for February, one of the books is actually narrated by Teddy. It's Amy Dawes' Wait With Me. Aaron Allen also on that one. We're getting ready.
Wait With Me is great.
The movie.
That's the one that's a movie. Yeah.
So that's one of our
I sent a thing out to her when I first heard about the movie. I was like, just get me and Aaron like walk on, like just like we don't even have to say anything, like just like walking in the background pointing at something, just so that then like
Eddie.
I know, but that's because you were able to go over
there. I
there.
get to do that, and you didn't. That makes me sad. Like, we would have had to fly there. It's really close.
I would have had to fly there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, have us flown out, have our own trailers, but I guess it just wasn't in the cards.
So will you watch the movie? And will
you? Of course, yeah.
The lines that you did in the book compared to live actors, or can you just watch it?
I think I'll watch it, and I will think about whether or not he did Miles right, or if they had to sacrifice the true Miles for the sake of, for the sake of Hollywood. But
he's gonna do a great.
No, I'll watch it just to support and to say, to see it because it's cool.
Andrew and Madison are gonna do a great job. I'm really excited.
Andrew and Madison. Is his
Andrew,
name?
You're not. Is
Andrew?
His name's Andrew.
Well, luckily my name is Teddy.
Yes, his name's Andrew, and her name is Madison. And it's going to be great. I'm very excited.
The Teddy Andrew duality. Welcome to my TED Talk. Yeah. Okay. I have to go. I was going to go for the past 20 minutes.
Well, thank you.
So what's the next topic of conversation? Thank you everybody for stopping in and saying hi. Bye. Oh my God, Teddy Hamilton, you're the best. Thank you very much. Say goodnight, Teddy. Yes, all right, I will. I promise.
And hey, I will do this with you anytime. So if this was fun, do it again. Let's do it again.
This was very fun. I enjoyed it, and I enjoy you. I watch all of your stuff, and I think you do a great job.
Thank you. Yeah. I listen to all of your stuff, and you do a great job.
Well, thank you. All right.
All right. Have a good night.
I'm going to sign off.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
This was great. Bye.
Oh, that was so much fun. Joe Arden and Teddy Hamilton. That was amazing.